Hello guys, so this is tutorial number 6 in the Cypress automation framework and the framework creation from the scratch. So in this lecture basically we will discuss the important Cypress command that is required for the automation purpose, and then we will discuss an important concept called asynchronous nature and how Cypress will deal with the asynchronous nature and doing the automation. So start with the first one where we discuss the first command is called find. So in the description, you are able to see it will get the descendant DOM element of a specific selector. What it means? For that, just open Cypress official website and search for the find. So this is the find, and that is the correct usage of it. But to understand this, just open the practice website that we are using for the practicing purpose. Inspect the element, and I'm just inspecting this site logo. So here you are able to see like we have one div. Inside that div we have the id called site logo, and then we have one spam inside that div, and that spam content is automation practice site. So if you search spam on the whole page, you are able to find 15 spam. There are 15, but inside that particular div we have only one spam. So using the find, we can restrict the search criteria, and then if we are using the find and inside the div only, then that it will Cypress will search for that spam inside that particular div only. So it will restrict the search criteria, and it will search for the in that particular location only, not the particular whole page. So if we are identify the div, and then we will write tell Cypress to search for the spam, then it will search the spam inside that particular div only, not on the complete page. To check it out, first we have to identify the div. For div, the ID is the site logo, and we already know to identify the ID, just copy that ID, and we need to put a hash symbol in the CSS. Put hash and the site logo. We are easily identified this particular div. Just copy that ID and go to the Visual Studio. Just we need to type cy dot get to get that particular element, and now we have successfully identified the div. Now we can use the find method to search inside that particular div only. Put on the dot and then find. Now the search criteria is inside that particular div, and we need to search for that spam, that is automation practice site. So just because it's only one spam is there inside the div, just put a bracket inside the single quote, we can say spam. So now it successfully identified that particular spam. First it identified the div and then that particular spam. But how we can validate that it is coming only once only or multiple spam is not coming? For that, we will put the assertion. In the previous lecture also, we have put the assertion and validate the length for that particular image. In this case, we will put the assertion and validate the length for the spam. For that, we can use the assertion that is provided by the Chai framework. That is stood and the bracket have length, and then we can validate as a 1. So if the 1 spam is coming for inside that particular div only, then the test case will pass, otherwise test case will fail. Just save it, go to the test runner, run this test1.js file. Test case is running and it's loading automation practice website. Maybe it will take some time, so I just pause the recording. Once it's executed completely, then I will resume it again. So test is executed successfully. In the log section, you are able to see that assert expected spam to be have a length of 1. So we have identified the spam, and this is identifying only the 1 spam, not the whole 15 one. So that is the find. Basically, using that we can restrict the search and find the locator inside that particular segment only, not on the whole page. That is the first command that is required for the automation. It is find. Second one is the EQ method. That is basically required to get a specific index in an array of the elements. Suppose we have an array of the web elements and we want to access the specific index, then we can use the EQ method. To check this, again, we will go to our automation practice website. Inside this practice website, if I just zoom it out, yes. So if I identify this shop element, here you are able to see we have multiple list items. So first we will write a common XPath, so we will get a list of the item, not the specific one. So for that, we can use the CSS attribute equal to value, not the XPath, because XPath is not supported in the Cypress. And we can say ID star equal to menu and this one. So now we are getting the 6 list item, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the 6 item. So it's kind of a list of that particular web elements. Inside that list, there is a hyperlink. In that we have the shop, we have that my account and all. So we want to click on the my account only, not the shop one. So first we will get the whole list, and then using the EQ method, we will click on that my account. So for that, just copy that CSS and go to the Visual Studio, type cy dot get and the bracket, put the CSS. So now we have the list of the all six web elements, and we want to access that second one, my account in the second one, first one and the second one. But index is start from the 0, so it's the 0th one, and my account is the first one, and this is the second one. So then we can put dot EQ, and then we can put the first. And now we want to click on that. Dot click. Click is the method for clicking that element. That's all. Just save this test. It will start executing again. Again, I will pause the recording for a minute and then continue once the execution complete. So test is executed, but we got an error. So it's validate the spam, but after clicking on that element is saying timed out cy.click because the element this is you are trying is invisible, not visible. Basically, that element is coming inside that my this tab, and we are directly clicking on the my account because of the resolution in this page is coming like this, but here because of the resolution it's coming in under this tab only. So that's why Cypress is saying the element is present inside that particular page, but that is invisible. To handle this, if you scroll down, they are saying either you have to click on this tab, or you can pass a command like force even equal to true to disable this error checking. If you pass as a force equal to true, even that the element is invisible, Cypress will go into the DOM and click on it. To that, check that, just copy that force equal to true. Go to Visual Studio, test1.js, and just pass this force equal to true. Now it will won't check for that particular error. It will just check that element is present on the DOM or not. Even if it's invisible, it will go to the DOM and perform the action. Just click on it and run the test again. It will start executing. It will take around 2 to 3 minutes to execute because of the load. So I will pause the recording again and continue once it's complete. So test is completed now. So this time we are not getting any error. This time that is valid for the spam, and even if the element is invisible, it's force gone to that particular DOM and click on that particular element. So even if the element is invisible and you want to perform a click action or some other action on it, just you have need to pass force colon true parameter for that click method. So it will ignore that particular error and click on that particular element. But in this scenario, we are saying we are doing some kind of a hard coding here. We are passing index like equal 1. Sometime if the my account will come on the second position, but maybe it will change to the third or fourth or fifth or maybe some other position. So doing this kind of a hard coding is not the correct choice. To perform this, we have another method that we have said is called each method that iterate through an array like a structure for the arrays of the object with a length. Basically, that is kind of a loop that we are using in the Java is kind of a for each loop. So in that, basically, we will get a error no, array of all the elements, and then we will iterate one by one, and then we will click on the particular element that we want to click on it. So for that, just go to the Cypress official website and search for each. So each iterate through an array like a structure with a length for the array. So for that, if you scroll down, so that is the syntax for that. So basically cy.get and then the locator. For that, basically the list, we will get in the list of the web element, and then each, then $even. $even basically is pointing to the current element of the list. The first time it will point to the first element, then second time it will point to the second, third, fourth. So basically it's kind of a increasing every time. So first, so it will point the current element of that particular array. So $even is basically the current element. Then the index and list, we have to pass the whole list. And then inside that method, we are checking the condition like $even dot some method, like we can say $even dot test equal to like something or some. Then we will perform that operation called click. And the else part, we can also write the sum. So that is the syntax for the each, where we have to pass the locator. Even is basically pointing to the current element of the loop. And inside that, we can provide if else and then perform the operation. So to check this, just go to the Visual Studio. I've just written the code. I'm just copying it for your reference, and then I will explain what is happening here. Just copy this code and inside the it block. Okay. So on this official website, this practice website, basically, we are want to click on this my account button. So using this CSS, we are getting the list of the all 6 elements. Just copy this CSS and go to the Visual Studio and paste it here. cy.get and the list of the menu item. And that is the syntax dot each, even is the current element, and then index and then list. So here we are getting all the 6 elements. Inside the loop, first time it will point to the first element, means stop. Second time, my account. Third time, dash cases. Fourth time, at site on. So first time it is pointing to the shop element. Then we will go to the code and we are saying we just make a variable, verify test, v test. In the JavaScript, to declare the variable, we need to use the keyword called const, and then we need to declare the variable. Then we can say $even dot find. Just copy this CSS and then I will explain what actually I want to try. Copy this CSS and go to the web page and search for it. We have 29 tags that have href equal to HTTP. But if you go to this particular stop element, inside the stop element, this one, this list item, inside this list item, we have only one element, this hyperlink, that have href equal to HTTP. So using that find method that we have discussed previously, we can restrict the search to that particular list item only, and then we will identify this href, this hyperlink basically. So in the whole page that we are getting 29 hyperlink. But first, if we identify the list item, and then we will give this CSS using that find method, then only we will get only one hyperlink only, that is this one. So that's why I'm saying here cy.get list item means list of all the list items, and then we will iterate the list. $E1 is pointing to the current element, so first time it will pointing to this top list item. So we are here. $E1 means list item of this first list item, list menu item 40. And then we can say $E1 dot find href means this href, this one. Now we are here. Then in our code we are saying dot text. So we will get the text as a shop. $E1 dot find href dot text. So we will get the shop. And in that code we are saying if this verify text includes my, if because we want to click on the my account, so that's why we are checking for the my keyword. So if we're checking on the my keyword, then only we need to perform the click action, otherwise we will skip it. The first time we are getting that keyword as a shop, the shop is not contain any keyword my, so it will skip that. Second time the loop will iterate again, and we will get the tag called my account. In the my account we have that particular keyword my inside this particular hyperlink, so it will come inside that particular loop, and then there's a keyword called cy.wrap, and then we have to pass that particular element, and then we can click on it. So just copy that syntax from that official website, the similar to this only, and just pass that particular CSS where you want to click. So I have just passed the CSS, this CSS that actually I want to click, and then it will perform the action. So if we run that particular code, it will search for all the, iterate all the list and click on the my account here. So there is no hard coding here. If the my account button move to the third element or the fourth element or the fifth one, every time it will perform the click operation. So in the previous one, in the EQ method, we are doing a kind of the hard coding here, but using this each method, we can click or iterate the loop of the web element, and there is no hard coding involved. So I'm just commenting this code EQ1 and save it and running this test again. So I'm pausing the recording and again resume when the test is complete. So test execution is completed successfully, and you are able to see that it loaded the page menu icon, and then it click on the shout button. So in the each step, if you scroll down, click on that, you are able to see the screenshot for each and every step that we have performed the execution. So using that screenshot also you can validate the execution that we have performed. So till now we have discussed that find method. Using that basically we can restrict the search, and Cypress will search for the locator in that particular specific area only, and the EQ method where we can basically in the array we can array of the web element we can find the specific one using the index. And third one is the each method. If you do not want to do any hard coding, we can iterate a loop, and using that particular loop we can find that particular element and click on it. So these are the three important methods that is required while doing the automations. And another more important concept is Cypress Asynchronous nature. What is it? For that, let's open that official website and search for commands or asynchronous. So what is synchronous and what is asynchronous means? Synchronous means everything is in sequence. First we will execute the one command and wait for it for the completion, and then I will run again the second command, then the third one, and the fourth one. If we are executing the command in the Java and the Selenium, you are aware the concept of the Selenium. Selenium is the synchronous. So it will wait for the one command to the complete, and then it will execute the command again. So it will run in the synchronous manner. But because Cypress is a JavaScript based automation tool and JavaScript is asynchronous, that's why Cypress is also asynchronous. Asynchronous means all at a time. So if you run all the commands, like 10 commands is there, and you are executing them, it will run all the 10 command at a time. So what will happen if you run that cy.visit, cy.get, and the cy.url? It will first run the cy.visit and it won't not wait for the complete. Then it again run the cy.get that click and then it find for a particular URL, and because the page is not loaded, the test case will fail because it's running all the commands at a time. That is the asynchronous nature. But you are thinking like we are executing the Cypress test and it's executing properly in the synchronous manner, and we are not feeling that it is asynchronous and it basically is working in the proper way. To understand that why Cypress is working properly and it is asynchronous, but it is executing the command in the synchronous way, we need to first understand the concept of the promise. So what is the promise? So basically, promise is the state of that particular command. So in the asynchronous world, basically each and every command will return the promise. Promise means the current state of the command. So we have the three state of the promise like resolved, pending, and waiting. Resolved means that particular command is completed. Pending means it's waiting for the execution, and rejected means it's failed. So if that particular command is completed, it will return a promise as a result. So we have to wait for that particular promise to be resolved, then only we will execute the next command. So for that, we have one method called then. So using .then method, we can wait for the promise to be resolved and then we will need to perform the action. So again, go to the official website and just search for the noise. So here is the implementation. Like if you return cy.visit, then we have to put the then command to resolve, wait for the promise to be resolved, and then perform the action. And again, for the next command, we need to provide .then. For the next command also, we need to provide .then. But here we are not providing any .then in our script. We are just writing the command, whatever is required for our execution, and we are not putting any .then and not resolving any promise and not waiting for the any promise to handle. Because in the Cypress, they have provided a hooks that will internally take care of resolving the promise. So all the .then thing and waiting for the promise is handled by the Cypress hooks. So whenever you are using this, all the Cypress command like cy.visit, cy.get, cy dot basically click and all these things, in the backend Cypress hook will call and they will resolve your promise. So in your automation, you just need to write the code that is required for us and no need to worry about the promise thing. But internally, it's asynchronous and Cypress hooks are taking care that promise to be resolved. So it's an important concept. So because in the interviewer can ask the Cypress is asynchronous, but your command is working in the synchronous way. How it's possible? Because it's possible because the Cypress hooks are waiting for that promise to be resolved and they are taken care of internally. So in our code, no need to write any code to resolve the promise or handling the promise. Cypress is taken care of internally. But if you are using any other than Cypress command like JavaScript command or the jQuery command or any other command that is not related to the Cypress, but you are using in your automation, then you have to be resolve that promise manually. If you not resolve that promise, then that command will run in the asynchronous manner and your test will fail. So if you are using the Cypress command, nothing to worry. But if you are not using the Cypress command and using some non-Cypress command with the Cypress command, so for Cypress command, Cypress will take care. But for non-Cypress command, you have to take care for the handling the promise and then your test will execute in the synchronous manner. So how to handle the promise, how to put the then method and resolve the promise for the non-Cypress command, we will see in the next lecture. Also in the next lecture, we will cover some important topics that is required for the framework creation. So in this lecture, we have covered the find method, EQ method, each method, and the Cypress asynchronous nature. What is the promise state like resolve, pending, and rejected, And the then method for the resolving the promise, Cypress hooks that is internally taking care of the resolving the promise. In the next lecture, we will take if there is non-Cypress method, then how we will take care of resolving promise manually and some other more important commands. So if you have any queries or question, you can feel free to reach out to me on the LinkedIn. My LinkedIn URL is given into the description box. So thank you again. Thanks for your time. Thanks a lot.